Alright, let's be real. Buying a house in 2025 feels like you're trying to win a game of Monopoly. Except Jeff Bezos owns Boardwalk. Your salary hasn't moved in 3 years, and you're stuck paying rent to your landlord who calls himself a property mogul because he owns 2 condos and a bad haircut. You're scrolling through listings at 2 a.m., half asleep, thinking, maybe this one's in my budget, only to realize it's a shed. A literal shed. In California. With open-air living concept, which is realtor speak for no walls. But hold up. Don't give up yet. Because there are still a few magical states left in America where you can buy an actual house, not a broom closet with Wi-Fi, and still afford to eat something other than instant noodles. So grab your coffee, hug your emotional support pillow, and smash that like button, because here are the top 5 cheapest states to buy a house in 2025. Number 5, West Virginia. The land of mountains, winding roads, and houses so cheap you'll think it's a typo. The average home price here is around $155,000. Yes, you heard that right. $155,000. That's less than the down payment in half the country. The cost of living? About 12% below the national average. Translation, you can buy a house, pay your bills, and still have money left over for actual hobbies, like eating food that doesn't come from a meal prep influencer. Imagine this. You wake up to the sound of birds, not traffic. You sip your coffee on your porch, mortgage under $900 a month, and the biggest noise complaint you'll ever get is from a rooster named Larry, who takes his job way too seriously. Sure, you'll have to drive 40 miles to find a Starbucks, and your neighbors probably own tractors instead of Teslas. But hey, at least your tractor's paid off. If you trade your $3,000 city rent for a rooster alarm clock, comment, "Take me home." Country roads. Number 4, Mississippi. Average home price, $176,000. That's not cheap. That's, I can buy 2 and still have money for Chick-fil-A cheap. The cost of living here is about 15% below the national average, which means you can buy a house and still afford groceries, something city people call a luxury. For $176,000, you can get a 3-bedroom home, a yard the size of a football field, and probably a porch swing for those dramatic, I made it moments. Of course, there's a catch. It's humid. Like, step outside and immediately melt humid. But hey, think of it as free sauna treatment. You're not sweating, you're detoxing. If you're from Mississippi or brave enough to live where the air hugs you back, drop a comment saying, "I'm sweating, but I'm saving." Number 3, Arkansas. Average home price, $197,000. Cost of living, 14% below national average. You can buy a house here for less than the price of a studio apartment in Seattle, one that probably shares a bathroom with 6 tech interns named Kyle. And Arkansas is beautiful. Mountains, rivers, and friendly neighbors who wave at you like it's their job. You'll walk into a cafe, and by the time you leave, you'll have been invited to a barbecue, a church picnic, and a fishing trip with someone named Bob. Sure, there's not a Whole Foods on every corner, but do you really need $9 asparagus water when your mortgage is under $1,000? Exactly. So if you're tired of paying rent that costs more than your will to live, hit that like button, because Arkansas is the underrated MVP of affordable living. Number 2, Oklahoma. Average home price, $203,000. Cost of living, 11% below national average. In other words, you can actually own land. Real land. With grass. And a driveway. And maybe even a pool, or enough space to dig one yourself if you're feeling ambitious. You can buy a 3-bedroom home here for what a parking spot costs in Los Angeles. And yes, I checked. Someone actually paid $250,000 for a parking spot in LA. Meanwhile, in Oklahoma, that gets you a backyard, a garage, and possibly your own tornado bunker. Speaking of which, yeah, the weather can get wild. Tornadoes here are like bad exes. Unpredictable, dramatic, and show up exactly when you don't want them to. You'll be watching Netflix one second, and the next, your mailbox is sightseeing in Kansas. But come on, with a mortgage under $1,200 a month, you'll rebuild and upgrade. So tell me in the comments, would you rather risk 1 tornado a year or pay $3,500 in rent? Because personally, I'll take the breeze. Number 1, Ohio. The internet loves to roast Ohio. And yet, here we are. The cheapest state to buy a house in 2025. Average home price, $215,000. But don't let that number fool you. Ohio gives you more house for your money than anywhere else. We're talking full-sized houses for bedrooms, 2 baths, basement, garage, backyard, for less than what some people pay to live next to a freeway in California. Cost of living, 8% below the national average. Groceries are cheaper, gas is cheaper, and people here actually own lawnmowers. Not because they're flexing, but because they have lawns. Sure, the weather's moody. One day it's snowing, the next it's 90 degrees, and then suddenly it's both. But that's part of the fun. Ohio keeps you guessing. And honestly, after looking at national housing prices, Ohio doesn't look so bad. If you agree, hit that subscribe button, because we need to give Ohio the respect it deserves. Now let's be real for a second. These places aren't perfect. You won't get big city nightlife or brunch spots that serve gluten-free, dairy-free, emotionally supportive pancakes. But you will get space, peace, a front yard. You'll have a house that doesn't require a roommate named Dave who forgets to pay rent but somehow owns a PS5. Picture this. You move to Oklahoma. You buy a $200,000 house. You sit on your porch, sweet tea in hand, watching the sunset, mortgage under $1,200. Your dog's chasing fireflies, your neighbor brings you homemade pie, and you open Instagram and see someone post a $1.2 million cozy minimalist LA home that looks like a shipping container. You just smile, because your shipping container has air conditioning and property taxes under $1,500. The cheapest states aren't just affordable, they're the last sane parts of America. Places where starter homes still exist, where people wave when they drive by, and where owning land isn't reserved for billionaires. So yeah, you might trade traffic for tractors, but at least you'll have a place to park your tractor. Drop a comment telling me which of these states you'd move to, or if you already live in one, brag a little. Tell us your mortgage so we can all cry together in the comments. And don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe so I can finally afford a house too. Or at least a slightly bigger Wi-Fi bill. Thanks for watching, and remember, the American dream might not be dead. It's just living quietly in West Virginia with a chicken coop and great property taxes.